Hey folks, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching this video. This is Doug with News and Views by Doug. And I want to wish you a happy Sunday, July 13th. Hopefully everything is peaceful wherever you're watching this video from. Unfortunately, it's not peaceful around the world. The Persian Gulf War with the United States and Iran, it's growing. And now Saudi Arabia is involved. Now, you've heard a lot about Yemen and the Houthis. So if you're not aware of the situation, I believe it started back in 2013 where a tribe, the Houthis, they decided to do a civil war with the government of Yemen. The world recognizes the government of Yemen as being the one true government, and Saudi Arabia has been their ally. Well, the civil war has been going on for years, and the Houthis control the western half of Yemen, and that's where they've been attacking ships in the Red Sea and parts of the, I don't know if it's Indian Ocean or Gulf of Oman. But yesterday, an Iranian civilian airliner tried to land at their airport in Sana'a, Yemen, and it was full of Russians and Iranians. Well, the Saudi Air Force decided to try and crater the airport, which they did. You'll see in the video, and it's loud, so be aware, turn your speaker down. They dropped several bombs and pretty much cratered the runway so the plane couldn't land. The plane eventually did land at another airport, but this is just an escalation, and now Saudi Arabia is involved. Because you know Iran's going to retaliate and probably go after the Saudi oil fields and the bases that the U.S. are using in Saudi Arabia.
هذا حائل باليمن صحيح أمريكي سعودي في مطار صنعاء في يوم هذا حائل باليمن صحيح أمريكي سعودي في مطار صنعاء في يوم.
So, I don't know if you remember I think it was about 2 weeks ago, a U.S. Navy helicopter went down in the Persian Gulf, Straits of Hormuz, and it wasn't shot down as far as we know. It had mechanical issues, and several of the crewmen survived. The pilot did not. Well, those men were in the water for a couple of hours, and the Navy sent a drone rescue boat. The boat went in and was able to find the men, and they climbed on board, and the boat was able to get them to safety. And it was a drone. It wasn't manned. Well, yesterday the Navy deployed more drones, but these were attack vessels. And you'll see in the video where they went into Bandas, I can't pronounce the name. It's the Iranian port where most of their Navy was. And you'll see in the video where 3 boats went in and they hit a dock that was the submarine pen. And even in the video before the explosion, you can see one of the Iranian submarines sitting up in the dock. And this is the first time, as far as we know, the U.S. has used one of these drone boats to attack the enemy. Also, the blockade is back on. U.S. Navy will be pulling over all ships coming out of Iran and stopping them and searching them. And it's basically been said that if these boats don't comply, they'll be sunk. No more of this hitting the engine room and disabling the boats. They're just going to flat out sink them. Now, I can't say I agree with this. It's an international waterway, where one of our biggest arguments with Iran is that Iran was closing the Straits of Hormuz, and they were telling people which way to go, and also to pay a fee, a service fee, to be able to transit the Straits of Hormuz. And if the ships didn't comply, if they went the other direction towards Oman, or if they just weren't complying at all with the Iranians, they were being hit by drones and missiles. And many ships have been hit. And this currently brought on the latest stage in the war, where the U.S. is just saying, ceasefire is over. We're tired of your bullshit, Iran. And basically, we started attacking them, hitting all their missiles and command centers and anything else along the coast. Well, President Trump announced that we're going to be the guardians of the Straits, the U.S. Navy, and that he's going to charge a service fee for protecting ships going through the Straits of Hormuz. He's going to charge 20% of whatever the value of the items on board the ship is, whether it's oil or cargo or whatever. But, I can't say I agree with that, because it's an international waterway. Free travel. And now we're charging a service fee to protect those ships. I don't know. I mean, I understand it costs a lot of money to do this operation. But how about we take that money and finish the war? Wipe out the regime. They're already in trouble. There's reports coming out of Iran that the regular army, which is not the IRGC, they're abandoning their posts. They're leaving their headquarters. There's some open fighting between them and the IRGC, and a lot of the troops are just deserting. The regime is falling. We've nailed them economically. We've nailed them with warfare, and the regime can't last much longer. There's also reports that the Iranian people are rising up, which they should do. You got the Kurds that are coming in and attacking the IRGC troops in the western or northwestern part of Iran. And Israel has rejoined the fight, and we're wiping them out. And why don't we just continue doing that and get rid of the regime, and then we can try to bring peace to that region of the Middle East. So, I don't know. It's one of those things. Now, here's something funny that came out. The United Arab Emirates, which sits right across the Gulf from Iran, was one of the most heavily hit countries when this war started. I mean, we're talking, I believe the number was over 2,000 drones and ballistic missiles were fired into the UAE, and suddenly it's stopped. The UAE is being left alone, and Iran is hitting Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia, but the UAE is not being hit. And there's a lot of word coming out that the UAE may have paid Iran to leave them alone. May have, given that government billions of dollars just to keep them out of the war, even though the UAE has retaliated at times. So, who knows what the truth is. So, there's all that. Now, it just came out this morning that a man was arrested outside the U.S. Capitol with a loaded weapon. It's not known if he was trying to make it into the Capitol. Details haven't come out. But you'll see in the video where he's being detained by the U.S. Capitol Police.
We are following breaking news right now on Capitol Hill. U.S. Capitol Police confirming to 7 News that they have arrested a man with a gun. This is a live look at the very active scene right now. Police say the man was taken into custody at the north barricade of the U.S. Capitol. That area will be closed while officers investigate and work to clear the scene. Investigators are currently working to learn more about the suspect and why he drove to the U.S. Capitol. Be sure to stay with 7 News for updates on this breaking story throughout the day.
So that's just a brief overlay of what's going on today. There's a lot of crap out there. You got that Ro Khanna, the communist congressman from the United States, who went to Israel and was unauthorized to go into a certain area. And he was detained by the Israeli civilians and the IDF soldiers. And he claims he was abused. And how dare them? He's a U.S. congressman. And, it's all coming out. But he claims that he did get authorized to go into the area, and it's a closed military area. He was trying to go into the West Bank of Israel. The guy's a clown. Who gives a shit that you're a U.S. congressman in a foreign country? And he was even whining that his taxpayer dollars go to the defense of Israel, and how dare they do this to him? Okay, Ro, your $1.50, yeah, it probably went, but you're not paying thousands of dollars yourself personally to supply Israel with weapons. Out of all the taxes being paid, probably about $1.50 of it was used for Israel's defense. He's also, making these claims that he was abused and stuff. But again, why are you there? You represent the United States of America, not the Palestinians of Gaza. You're just there for show. And this guy is a DSA agent in the Congress. So there's that. There was also, when Trump was in Ankara, Turkey, when he left, he had to board Air Force One, the original one, because of the credible threats that Iran was going to try to assassinate him. And so he was able to jump on another plane. Now, I don't know if he flew out of Turkey with the original Air Force One, because I also heard reports that he was flown to England and that's where he switched planes. So who knows? But the FBI served subpoenas on 4 journalists from the New York Times because they basically leaked the story. And this is a violation of national security. If this kind of crap had happened during the Second World War or any time before that, these people would be brought up on charges of treason. But now with today's modern technology and able to get the word out, they want to be the first. They want to get the word out. And the New York Times is a communist paper. They're not pro-U.S. or anything pro-U.S. But they wanted to get out there that, Trump's life was in danger. And so were their lives because their journalists were on the plane. And just more shit. So anyways, it is Sunday. I'm going to leave you with that. If you're watching the World Cup, enjoy yourself. As I always say, take care of each other. Be safe. Be aware of your surroundings because there's bad people out there that want to harm you. And just, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you anymore. So I'm going to read you the quote of the day. And get this video over with. The quote is, Better to be a wolf everyone hates than a donkey that everyone rides. Integrity above everything. Now, I can't really tell you who did that quote because I don't know. But I found it this morning and I thought, yeah, it is better to be the wolf. So anyways, folks, I'm going to leave you with that. Again, please be safe. Please subscribe to this channel if you enjoy what I have to say. Leave a comment if you have a thought, and I will try to reply. But again, thank you so much for watching these videos. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. You take care.